Yes. Okay. Hello, everyone. Yep, thank you for joining our webinar today. We are going to talk about the HR technology in 2021 and also talk about the future ahead for learning. Next slide, please, Jessica. So before I begin about the content proper, I'd like to just give you a brief introduction about who we are. We are Telenext, and we are one of the key partners of Cornerstone OnDemand. Just a brief introduction to Cornerstone. Cornerstone is one of the leading talent management suites globally. Cornerstone has 7,000 over clients with 75 million users, and they operate in over 180 countries. They also have 21 offices with a strong emphasis on the Asia Pacific region. And in Asia, we have around 7 offices, with one of the main office for Cornerstone in Singapore. And that's where Telenext is also headquartered. Next slide. Just a bit about Telenext in numbers. We have done implementations in over 11 countries for more than 75,000 users. We have 6 office locations within Asia, and we are very much focused on local service as well as local implementation. As our presentation today is mainly catered towards the Vietnam market, we do have an office in Ho Chi Minh City, and we also do many Vietnamese projects as well. Yep.
Okay, right. Thank you so much, Mr. Chorsa. And I'm Jessica. I'm one of the speakers today as well as the moderator. So before we start, I would like to walk you through the agenda today. I'm going to talk about the COVID-19 and Vietnam's HR tech landscape. And later, Mr. Colin will share with you about his thought about new learning platform in Vietnam and how your organization can leverage from this new technology. And for the third section, you will meet Mr. Joshua again for to know how to build a strong content strategy for 2021. And Ms. Trang Phong will give you the overview about Cornerstone solution at the fourth section. And for the last session, we will be running the Q&A section. So please feel free to write down all your questions in the question tab. So for my sharing today, I'll explain with you 3 main changes in HR technology. First, I'll walk you through some of the changes in HR and what are the areas that are shifting the most. And next, I'll share with you how most companies Vietnamese are responding to the pandemic. And last, I will further explain you about Vietnam HR tech landscape. So in this slide, I want to introduce you to HR operating model that responsive and resilient. As you know that before the pandemic, responsive model seemed to be effective, and as more companies have multi-year program to try HR technology, culture, careers, other initiatives. However, this picture look different following the pandemic. We now have to react in days or even in hours. So a resilient HR operating model seems to be a better fit because it allows you to optimize the local action with the high degree of expertise and cross-functional teams so that it can help you to give the exact and quick decision based on the real shared data. So the question now is how you can build a resilient operating model. We believe that if you want to build a good one, you need a right platform to do so. So what do I mean when I say the right platform? Again, If your business needs to transform in just in hours or just in day, your HR platform needs to be flexible and reliable, and at the same time, it needs to be able to interact to your current HR system and other platform, and most important thing that will be the working tool. So next, I'll give you another change that we believe is a shifting quite fast is the adopting of application of technology. You can see on the screen we have several of application in HR technology, but today I will emphasize more on the adopting in AI. Why? Because we see that adopting AI technology is increasingly adopted by learning platform, and all these learning platforms are going to transit to become a learning experience platform. And for your further details later, Mr. Colin and Ms. Strang will give you more information about this part. So based on last year research from Microsoft, they estimated that adopting AI technology will lead to 40 billion increase in revenue for business worldwide in the next 3 years. Accordingly, 83 of CEO expect that AI will change their business at the same period. And we are having 51% of firms have implemented automation projects. So that is the short introduction about the shift in technology. And next, I will talk more about the transition of HR tech into the work tech. So you can see on this slide, in order to make the work faster and more effective, we began automating core HR functions such as payroll, time attendance, leaves, and also other subject, or maybe we call in another name a transactional HR. And after that, we realized that it's not enough. HR have more than that. So we start to develop the engagement system and as a firm at a talent management solution. But then now everything is changing because of a pandemic. So we can see at the laser board here, we are going to transit into the system of productivity. Why? Because I think that you guys agree with me on one thing, that today we spend a lot of time in other productivity platform in work as well as in like social communication as well. Therefore, we see many workplace technology vendors such as Microsoft, Google, Slack, and WeChat on getting into the HR industry, and they are developing more and more HR feature into their system. Chatbot, messages, and real-time notification also appearing, and bringing the HR and workplace work together. And you will see this trend very clearly in the next slide in Vietnam market. So during the pandemic, Vietnam company has been rely on working tool quite a lot. You can see on the screen that the two areas of the processes tracking, result management, and chat video communication are used the most. But it's not like what I see, it's not like what I read or research about. I feel this transition very clear while I have a chance to talk with my client. And one of the clients I met in the logistics and e-commerce industry, they were asking me, oh, hey, Jessica, does your platform can be able to interact with our in-house sales app. And then at the time, they also asked me if is it possible to integrate to Slack as well. And we faced another situation with another customer in the e-payment industry. They have the need to integrate with the Zoom for the virtual training. And lots of customer when I talk to or even have a common conversation, they're asking, okay, does your system is able to connect with HRIS? So from all my experience and from what I see, I believe one thing that Vietnam companies are strongly aware of the transition of HR tech into the work tech. But again, here you will come back with one question. So we understand the transition, we see the need, but how we can achieve that? Again, I have to say, you only can achieve that with the right platform. And for that reason, I want to show you the solution that Cornerstone can offer you in the next slide. Okay, in this slide, you can see a lot of available integration that that Cornerstone OnDemand are having. And we are not only have the integration with working tool and MS Team, even like Facebook and Workforce. We also have connect to the virtual training like WebEx, Zoom, or GoToMeeting. But the thing that I want to emphasize for this slide is we are also able to integrate with content provider. And we are having at the moment over 35 content providers, and I can name some of the name that you can see is quite familiar: Coursera, Udemy, TikTok, and LinkedIn Learning. So moving next, I think this part is quite interesting. Is it Vietnam's HR tech landscape? To be honest, while I and my team tried to come up with the map, it's hard for us because we didn't have any resources to refer or to study in. Therefore, we try our best to bring up the map. And in this slide, I want to share with you about three statements. First, you can see on this slide and on the picture that HR technology in Vietnam market is growing, and you are not only see the global player, and you also can see some of the name that local too. And second, in the Vietnam market, the company are concerned most in end-to-end solution and application system tracking, as well learning and content management. And the last, what we can see from this map is vendor have picked up the HR technology fast enough, and they have the ability to try on this trend well. And how I say like that, you will see clearly in another section that Mr. Colin, our business consultant executive in Singapore, he will be sharing with you about his research on the new generation of learning platform, where you can see a lot of changes and technology that is applicable in the Vietnam learning culture. So please join the stage, Mr. Colin. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your introduction, Jessica. Do allow me to share my PowerPoint?
Yes.
All right, great. Thanks everyone for joining me today. I want to specifically go through about the corporate learning industry. How is it changing in Vietnam? Going through a few of the trends that we see nowadays in the market, and also the technologies with regards to learning that we see in Vietnam, and really what are the struggles that our customers are facing. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about learning in the flow of work. I think this is a very interesting trend that came out, I think, only in the couple of years recently, and it accelerated a lot, especially during COVID. What really is all about is that it's learning while the employees are going throughout the flow of work. All right, so traditional L&D is all about allocating time during your employees' working hours. So maybe you have 1 hour allocated to do learning once every 2 weeks or so. And from our experience, that is how most of our customers are doing their learning, right? So the employees are not learning outside of that 1 hour, right? However, learning in the work flow is actually different. What essentially it is planning learning around the employee schedules while they are working on the go. So there is no longer a scheduled session, but training content is actually pushed and also made accessible whenever an employee encounters a problem at work. Right? As you can see, a few examples here. You have Microsoft Teams having their own learning app, which is able to push content while the users are using MS Teams. There is the same thing at Facebook as well. All right, so it is very important for these learning technologies to have seamless integration to work tools like MS Teams or Facebook. Okay, another example that I would like to always share is Cornerstone and Salesforce integration. Salesforce being such a major player in the SaaS market, a lot of users are using it for their sales process. Cornerstone LMS is also integrated into it such that when there is a need to learn for a specific topic inside Salesforce, the content is automatically pushed to the users. All right, so that is an example of an integration to a work tool. Secondly, I want to talk about micro-learning, right? We were talking about learning in the flow of work, and that is only doable with the trend of micro-learning, right? To give a brief example, description of what's the difference between micro-learning and macro-learning. Macro-learning is your normal videos, which tend to be 30 minutes or maybe even 1 hour and a few hours or so. With micro-learning, you have video content that is less than 2 minutes, all right? And it's extremely topic-based and problem-based. So if the user is asking a specific question, a micro-learning content would deal with it, and normally is less than 2 minutes. On the other hand, for macro-learning, you have an entire video explaining a big concept, okay? So it is with this duration of micro-learning being less than 2 minutes, makes it easily accessible for users, especially when they are trying to implement a learning culture, learning in the flow of work. All right, and this importance really of micro-learning cannot be understated, because if you do not have such a small duration of video, people will not be able to watch a video or watch or consume a learning content while they are trying to do their work, because 1 hour of a video just takes too much of their time. Okay, so micro-learning content is an important trend in this industry nowadays that we see companies moving towards. And some of the difficulties lie in the lack of micro-learning content providers and vendors out there in the market, which I'll cover later. Okay, so with that, it leads us naturally to the learning technology that is made available in the market today. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about because there is also a lot of confusion that people have mentioned to me about, and I think it's good to clarify that. All right, so first I want to touch on learning experience platforms. A lot of people will get confused as to what does experience mean, because it is still a very vague word. To put it simply, LXP is like a YouTube account. It's like a YouTube platform. It is user interface for the users to watch their videos, for the users to interact with the videos, and it's for the users to also search any videos that they're looking for. All right, so you can see below that these are the few examples of LXPs in the market. Secondly, you have content libraries. All right, content libraries are vendors that supply the content, the videos to the customer. So for example, you are looking for a video with regards to soft skills because you want to improve your company's professional development, presentation skills, interactions with customers, right? You would go to these companies and buy their content. And normally companies like LinkedIn Learning have that available content for you. Last but not least, you have learning management system, also known as LMS, right? And this is normally the most foundational aspect of learning because it allows your company to store the training records, to track the user completion, to automate certain workflows, right? So I want to express this distinction, the difference also that LMS is different from LXP. Okay, LMS is focusing on the administrative aspect of learning, while LXP is really all about the users and how they interact with the learning content, right? Because of this confusion, a lot of customers feel that if I buy an LXP and the vendor tells me that they also have an LMS, that is a good thing and all their user requirements are met. What we see in the market is that LXP players or content library players like LinkedIn Learning, while they tell the customer that they have an LMS, the LMS system, it is not in-depth at all, meaning that they are unable to have a lot of deep configurations. Okay, so you will end up buying a LinkedIn Learning or a Go One, and then afterwards realize, oh no, the workflows I am unable to automate. And then afterwards, you might even purchase another LMS system on top of that. So we see a lot of customers have multiple vendors in each of these categories. And as a result, the integration can be done very poorly. Okay, for our background in TalentX, we are really quite strong in implementation, and we've done a lot of these implementation projects. So we have seen a lot of the confusion. We have seen a lot of the frustrations from our customer when a lot of these vendors are not able to integrate properly. So really our recommendation to customers is to find a vendor which is equally good in all three of these topics, okay, such that the integration is good and the user experience is seamless. Last but not least, I want to touch on this new tool called content creation. Okay, currently there are only close to 1 or 2 vendors in the market doing it. What essentially it is, it's a tool for your L&D department to actually create your own content. So every time when we share with our customers, they are very excited to purchase it. They're excited to do it because most of the time when you want to find content, you can only buy it from various vendors. And normally that is actually quite expensive. All right. So some of them just purchase this content creation tool. The user licenses are way cheaper than buying a video in itself. And you can create simple content and it's very easy to do. Okay, so moving on, I want to talk about the challenges with regards to content because we talked about content libraries, but as you know, in Vietnam, content is more catered towards the Vietnamese language. All right, so you can see that there are quite a lot of these Vietnamese suppliers over there. What we feel the challenges are is that there is a lack of professional Vietnamese content. A lot of the content providers out there do not have soft skills development and they seem not to be engaging enough. Our customers say that the quality is not good enough, and as a result, a lot of the users do not really watch the content even though they have purchased them. The second problem is that because of the first issue, our customers try and go outside of Vietnam to purchase high quality English content. Okay, those from overseas vendors, but then they find out that there is no Vietnamese translation for this content. And that is quite a pity because the overseas vendors, like let's say Skillsoft, have very, very high quality production, right? But they just have not been able to translate to Vietnamese at the moment. So that is an issue that we see currently. Our customers don't really know what to purchase anymore, right? And last but not least, there is a weak integration with the existing platforms that they have. Okay, so from these two challenges, from content and also integrations, I wanted to share with you our customer case study comparisons, which I thought it would be good so that we can understand it in real life, right? We have two companies. One is payments with 1,200 staff. One is a logistic company with 1,500 staff. For the payments company, they had an in-house LMS and in-house LXP. And we see a lot of companies doing that because I think with regards to intellectual property, they like to keep. But however, because it is in-house developed, there is a very poor training quality and follow-up because the configurations, they are not able to make it very deep and in-depth. Okay, so that's with regards to their LMS. With regards to the content, they are unsatisfied with what they currently have with the Vietnamese content providers. Essentially, their problem was that their LMS and their content wasn't able to engage the employees enough. And there was a weak employee engagement, and the learning adoption rate was very poor, despite the huge investments they made. So the solution that we shared with them was essentially the Cornerstone Learning Solution, which is both the LMS and the LXP combined. All right. We also shared with them Cornerstone Content, which is a combination of all the high quality international content providers only for their managerial workforce. Okay. Because the content is only available in English, we see that Vietnamese companies want their managers to be able to converse in English, to learn English, to differentiate themselves from the rest of the pack, which is why they can choose to only have this English content for a certain part of their workforce. Last but not least, they also bought the content creation tool. Similarly, with the logistics company, they also had an LMS and LXP, but their issue was more with regards to sales training. All right, they wanted the LMS to help their sales staff have a better sales process and be able to communicate better with customers, right? And it's with that they already had an in-house sales app that the current company was already using, and they needed an LMS to integrate into their sales app. Okay, and based on our experience, we find this very, very hard. Not a lot of vendors can integrate with an in-house sales app. They may be able to integrate with big players like Workday or Oracle, but when it's your own in-house sales app and having to deal with all the APIs, that becomes extremely challenging. So our solution essentially was somewhat similar, except that we included the API integration tool to allow this seamless integration to happen. Okay, so at the end of it, I hope everyone is clear with regards to the challenges that we see in the market. We are quite happy to be able to partner with Cornerstone really because we feel that it covers the LXP, the LMS, and also the content solution very, very well. So that is something that we find we are able to answer and meet the needs of our clients in Vietnam. All right, at this stage, I want to pass the time over to Josiah, who is our head of operations at TalentX. I'm quite excited because I think he has something interesting to share with regards to the new approaches to learning via capabilities. All right.
Thank you, Colin. All right, guys. Very warm welcome to everyone who is here today. I would like to share more about how you can build a strong strategy, especially for 2021. As you know, COVID has accelerated the need for learning as well as new learning strategies. And I'd like to touch a little bit on the capabilities approach that has been spoken of widely as we approach 2021. So what really is a capabilities approach? We need to first make a distinction between capabilities and competencies. I'm sure many of the HR executives in this webinar will be familiar with competencies, but I'd like to mention that capabilities is not competencies. Competencies relates to your knowledge and skills of your individual or your organization. But capabilities takes knowledge and skill and integrates it with agility and adaptation. So what are 3 features of a capabilities approach to learning? The first one is building ordinary and dynamic capabilities. Ordinary capabilities are best practices in your industry, but dynamic capabilities are things that are unique to your company. They are always changing, and they are the things that set you apart from your competitors. There's also a focus on soft skills. And finally, there's also a need to prepare for the future. So these 3 are the features of a capabilities approach. Now, for the Vietnam context, many Vietnamese companies are weak on soft skills, as most of the clients that we are focused on have mentioned about building hard skills. I'd like to share a quick story that when Google was founded, they founded it on the belief that only technologists can understand technology. However, in 2013, Google launched a project called Project Oxygen to identify what behaviors makes the best managers at Google. They had 10 top manager behaviors, and out of these 10 behaviors, only 1 relates to technical skills. The rest of the 9 are soft skills. So even if a big company like Google acknowledges the importance of soft skills as we go into 2021, maybe there is time to rethink our emphasis on soft skills in our organization. Now, we would like to also take a look at what your competitors are doing and how Capabilities Academy are different from the current practices. As you know, many of you might be involved with traditional training. It's very top-down. It's led by the L&D or HR department. There's often an LMS catalog with certification. But the problem is most of these events are very physical. They are very costly to scale, which makes it difficult for companies to adopt it widespread. What we see more companies going into right now is a self-directed learning approach. As Colin had mentioned, there is a LXP platform with AI course recommendation, and there's also open access, enabling any employees to learn anywhere, anytime. But there is also a downside to self-directed learning, and that is that there's too many courses and it's not focused. If you're buying a library of 3,000 over courses, are you able to curate that playlist well enough for your employees? And finally, this is where most of the current market is, but we want to shift away from this into a Capabilities Academy. And in the Capabilities Academy, the key difference is that it's organized by functional areas, like you see here, from sales to logistics to HR to so on and so forth. It is led by business leaders and not by L&D, which we normally see. It also facilitates social learning, similar to what you see on your Facebook groups. And it's also very cross-functional, meaning people can go around different academies to learn different skills. And finally, there's also a competency model involved, but it's also constantly adapting, meaning there's a very strong feedback process. Now, it might seem a bit confusing for you at the moment, so I'd like to give an analogy of how a Capabilities Academy works. Imagine a university where there are different faculties. There's the business faculty, social science, computer science, and each of these faculties are led by your professors, right? Your business professors, your social science professors, your computer science professors. And they all sit under the university umbrella. Now, as a business major, John, he's normally tied to the business faculty, where he learns most of his business modules. But as you know, that many people also have an accessibility to different modules in other faculties. We know that now schools want to teach broad-based learning, so they encourage you to take up courses in social science or computer science. And similarly for Sarah, who is a social science major, she can take courses in other faculties besides the social science faculty. Now you might be wondering, as L&D professionals, where do you sit in this university umbrella? So in each university, there's always a teaching, learning, and pedagogy division, similar to the L&D department in companies. And their main job is to do analysis, feedback, and process improvement. They support the professors in the different faculties, and they do not do the teaching themselves. So if we shift this into a business context, for your organization, how will it look? It will look something like this, where you have a sales academy, a logistic academy, a data analytics academy, and you have employees with different positions and from different departments. But all these academies sit under a unified talent management system, and employees are free to choose any different academy that they would like to learn from. As the L&D department, your job is to do analysis, feedback, as well as process improvement. And your job is to support the business leader rather than to take the front line and teach the employees. So what does this transform L&D into? This is something I'm really interested in, that L&D is being transformed from an administrative role to a business partner role. We keep hearing HRBP. This is the new role that is much more stronger for the future as you partner the different business and functional units. So what are the benefits and challenges of a capabilities academy? Some of the key benefits are that there is a strategic ownership of learning. The business unit now owns the learning agenda, and it makes employees feel more invested if their managers or their peers are the one conducting the learning courses. There's also cross-functional collaboration. Employees are free to choose multiple courses in different academies, and it builds more stronger cross-functional capabilities as well as teamwork. And there's also a strong feedback cycle. Challenges and best practices are shared continuously, and it creates a very strong feedback loop for improvement. And in Cornerstone, as well as TalentNext, we practice this Capabilities Academy. So most of the best practices from consultants all over the world are shared on a weekly basis. And this makes us very adaptable and very agile. But there are also key challenges to this capabilities approach. The first one is that it needs very heavy management buy-in. Employees want to see their leaders being invested in it before they want to do so personally. There's also a lot of resource-intensive setup where it takes a lot of time and planning to set up this learning process and rhythm. And finally, there has to be continued commitment. We see many companies dropping out after 3 to 6 months where they see not enough ROI or performance metrics being hit. But we tell all of our customers, learning is a long-term strategy. So you need to stick to it regardless of whether you see the results in the short term. So what does this bring you for 2021? My suggestion is start small and scale later. Perhaps if you're thinking of launching your own learning academy for one business unit, choose something small, something agile, and something important in your organization that can help you be the champion for learning. So I'd like to take a pause now to take stock of where we are at. We want to see where many companies are right now in terms of their learning and strategy alignment. So let's do a quick poll on how does your organization compare to others in terms of the L&D strategy. We'll just have 1 minute. So if you could do us a favor, please fill up the polls. If you feel uncomfortable, don't worry. It's totally anonymous, so no one will see any personal information. I think we see 2 responses here, so we're hoping that more people can respond to the poll as well. Yep, about 10 more seconds, and we'll finish off the poll. Great. All right. I'm pretty surprised by the results of the poll that many of the organizations here link competencies and performance to learning. From what we're seeing in the market, many companies do not do it. So I think it's you can give yourself a pat on the back if your organization is one that does it. All right. So where are you at right now in terms of your workforce maturity level? Here's just a quick overview of where you compare with regards to the competition. What we see is that for 65% of the firms, many of them are reactive, they are compliance focused, they are risk focused, and they just curate content. Only the top 35% of firms focus on both competency as well as performance. The real top 15% of firms are the ones that link learning to performance. So for all those who have responded to say that your organization does this, you can be really proud that you are the top 15% of firms in the industry. So one thing very important about the competency and performance linkage to learning is that you need a unified talent management system. You have to have a system that aggregates and stores data from both the performance aspect as well as the learning aspect. And this is something that in Vietnam, many customers do not have because they are purchasing many different systems together, which makes integration difficult. So how can Cornerstone help? If you're thinking of launching your Capabilities Academy in 2021, you might be thinking of some solutions that might enable you to do so. So I'd just like to run you through some of Cornerstone's modules. For Cornerstone Learning, we have a social learning platform that is similar to your Facebook groups where you can share and cover topics of interest. We also have an AI-enabled learning experience platform. And we have a strong L&D analytics tool which can enable L&D to become a business partner, especially in process improvement and in feedback. Cornerstone also has a content module with over 40,000 professionally curated courses. And I would say this is one of the strongest suite of Cornerstone. Not many other vendors have that scale and reach compared to us. And we also have a very easy to use content creation tool. And finally, we have a performance module with 53,000 skills in a capabilities library with an AI engine to match skills to different job positions. So this all fits under the Capabilities Academy requirements. But I also like to add that Cornerstone is a full suite solution. We have only covered learning, performance, and content, but we also have solutions such as career development, recruitment, core HR, and more. So I'd like to pass my time now to Phung, who is our solutions consultant. She has a wealth of experience in helping implement many large-scale projects for Vietnamese companies, and she will be the best person to take you through our Cornerstone solutions overview. So thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you, JC. Hello, everyone. I'm Trang Phung, implementation consultant from Thailand. And in the next 10 minutes, I will walk you through on how Cornerstone can help you update with the learning trend. I hope that you can hear me clearly. Okay, so I will start. Yes, so first, with the help of AI, which means artificial intelligence and machine learning, Cornerstone solution will gradually learn about every single learner in the system and provide them with personalized recommendations. Based on the courses that the learners are assigned or request, based on the other co-workers' learning history, who have the same training as them, and based on their division, based on their location and their function, the learners will be recommended with suitable courses which apply just for them. As you can see from my slide, we have the topics for Jackie. Jackie is the name of a learner in the system. And Jackie can see the training courses for account managers, which means her position. And besides learning alone, I think that learning how would be so much more interesting and effective when you have a team, right? So don't need a physical classroom with Cornerstone social learning feature. We can, learner can be put into different groups. For example, I have the leadership community here, which might be suitable for leaders and managers in your organization. And users can see the featured courses, the training courses that are training in this group, can learn about the popular text in here. People are talking mainly about coaching, talking mainly about measurement, talking about competency. Yeah, we can see it all in here so that the user can see which are the training topics in this group. Users can also have the space to discuss with each other. As you can see here, Marista post discussion in here. So other users can leave the comment, can hit the like, or can attach a file here, put an external link here to share their knowledge, to share about their opinion. And we also can see all of the members in this group. The next slide is about the learning path. I see from my own experience, among 10 clients, 9 companies had the requirement of setting up learning path for each role, each position in the organization. And this feature would help them on that. We can divide position into different groups or tie a learning path to that. You can see here we have a learning tab, and we put a curriculum in here. Each user can access this tab and start learning for each courses in here, and see the overall progress in here. So people can learn from the learning path and then freely discuss with each other. Then after a long time of running the system, the admin, or I can say the training department, will have lots of data, right, in the system. Now it's time for Cornerstone Machine Learning does its job. We all know that TNA process, as known as training needs analysis, is very, very painful for every training department. One of the common way I know is people often reaching out to the manager, reach out to the head of the department, head of the division, to ask them for their training needs in the next quarter or in the next year. But now with Cornerstone Learning, we equip you with a very powerful weapon called Learning Insights. There are many kinds of insights in the system, and I will show you some example. The first one is popular subjects. Training admin can see which are most popular subjects to each division or the whole organization. For example, in the chart here, you can see the data science subject is purple, which means it is the rising star. It is increasing in popularity. And the platform subject is orange, which means it is decreasing in popularity. And the admin can even see the detailed percentage in here, as a table in here. So from that fact, training admin can come up with the content to be provided in the next period. The second insight I have here is the learning trends in terms of the cost. You can see here, what I am doing is comparing 2 courses in the system to see which one is much more preferred. You can see it by the line here. The blue one stands for a course and the orange one stands for another course in here. We can even see the trend for the learning type. We can see whether people prefer reading material, which is the orange line, or people prefer joining online class, which is the blue line in here. Yep, you can see the line in here, so that you can decide whether in the next period we should host more classroom training, we should host more workshop, offline workshop, or we should produce more XCOM file or produce more PDF file for your learners. Yeah, here is another example. We can provide you with the predictive factors that affect your compliance training rate. You can see here are some of the factors that we provide. I have to say, this learning insight is not purely reporting. It's about hidden learner insights that we cannot obtain with the basic reporting tool. Yep. And now, after you decide on the subjects that you want to develop on in the next quarter, you can refer to Cornerstone Content Library to search for the courses. Cornerstone Library is carefully curated based on more than 20 years of client data. We have the more than 600 million registrations in our library, and with learner in our system every day. This analysis is based on our library only. We will look at their learning history using our library and apply the insights feature, which I have mentioned, to run the report. You can see here, I have an example report, which is the learning change in manufacturing industry. You can see top 10 courses that manufacturing industry company is interested in, top 5 subjects, top 10 providers, and the average time spent for per learner a year. Here is another example for the financial service one. So based on our library, based on the data, we will run the report like this one. And then we bring to the market a unique subscription offering called Content Anytime. It will include 2 types of content: our own Cornerstone originals produced by our studio in Los Angeles and New York, and partner content that is produced by more than 50 global partners in our ecosystem. Like Mr. JC have said, content needs to be curated carefully, right? So at Cornerstone, active curation is done by our in-house team, leveraging the insights of Cornerstone IQ to add most impactful partners and courses to our library. When you use Cornerstone Anytime, you can have access to content from several content providers without the need to maintain several contact points. All of these vendors will give you the qualified content which met the high standard of Cornerstone. You can see here we have 6 libraries like professional skills, modern compliance, leadership and management. One of our clients in Vietnam, which have more than 7 users, are using professional skills library and leadership management for their own workforce. So part of the value of Cornerstone Content Anytime is the wide variety of both brands and learning modalities. You can see here in this chart, the brands we select to bring into our offering cover both micro learning, which lasts for only some minutes, and macro extended learning, which might last for several hours. I believe that Colin mentioned this kind of learning in his speech. As well as variety in format, some content is more instructional by nature, while the other would be motivational. And all the content in system can link with a competency so that it can be recommended to the learner with relevant competency set tied to them. Our curation philosophy is based on the idea that employees have varied learning preferences, which is why Content Anytime solves for diverse learning needs. Apart from content library, Cornerstone provides with the Create tool, which helps you to quickly create micro learning on your own based on guided template. But due to the short time we have today, I cannot show you in details. If you want to get to know more about it, please contact us and we will be more than happy to assist you on this part. So above are some of the highlight features that Cornerstone can help you with the update with the learning change. So I think it's time for the Q&A session. So Jessica, can you help me?
Yeah, thank you so much for your presentation. I truly appreciate your sharing. So now let's move to the Q&A section. So I'll start the question one by one. Okay, there is a question for Colin that Sarah wonder whether if you could share more about the content, what about the other type of content that Vietnam company usually ask for?
So the type of content that we see our customers ask for, I think it's more towards the soft skills development. My belief with regards to compliance, I think a lot of that is very specific towards the Vietnamese regulations. So a lot of the local providers can cover that, right? But soft skills is still something in which it needs the content provider to have a very strong quality production value to really attract people to watch, because it is not very instructional, right? So because of that, a lot of them find difficulties in finding good quality professional development and soft skills content within the Vietnamese content providers, which is why they start to look outside. Yeah, so that is what we currently face. Although outside, a lot of these high quality content providers are still based in English, which is why normally we would always advise them to maybe purchase the content creation tool, which actually allows them to overlay Vietnamese subtitles in these high quality English content, all right, such that they are still able to use the video, which is engaging, and yet make it understandable with the Vietnamese subtitles. So that solution normally, while it's not a perfect solution, but I think it's quite a good workaround at this moment.
Yeah, thank you, Colin, and I hope that Sarah, you will satisfied with the answer. Because we are running out of time, so I will choose another question, and all the questions are listed on the question tab. We will try to answer you through the email, or if you have any further questions, so feel free to drop us an email after that. So moving forward, I have seen a very interesting question from Nghia Trung. He was asking that his company only has 300 to 400 users in Vietnam, and whether you think it makes sense to implement an LSP or LMS. So I think for this particular question, JC, can you help me to explain to Mr. Nghia?
Yes, thank you, Jessica. I'm very mindful that we only have 1 minute left, so I'll make it brief. Just to clarify again, an LXP and LMS is different. For 300 to 400 users, it's not a lot of users that might justify the purchase of an LMS. So many of the companies at that size in Vietnam come to ask us about LMS, but there are a lot of other factors to consider, such as cost, suitability, implementation, and resources. It's too much for me to talk about now, but the short answer is that if you feel that 300 to 400 users is too small for an LMS solution, go for an LXP.
Yeah, thank you for your answer. I received a lot of questions from other attendees to ask if we can share the slide after the workshop. I think it's better after we end this webinar on the recording will post on our website. So we hope at that stage we will give you information through the email, and you can refer the webinar recording later. So I think it's pretty much for this webinar today. Before we close the webinar, I would like to have Mr. Joshua Joe to have a close speak to you, and thank you for your thank you for your attending today. So please, Joshua, do you want to have a short close for the webinar? Thank you.
Yep. Thank you everyone for attending. I know there are many questions that we cannot answer at this moment. What I will do is get one of our business consultants to follow up with you, and also to give everyone who has attended a brief overview of all the questions and also answers to them. So thank you very much. I hope this webinar has been insightful for you as you move forward into 2021 with a renewed vision and a better strategy for your learning in your organization. So thank you everyone. Hope you guys stay safe and stay healthy. And let's look forward to a brighter and better 2021. Thank you everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you so much for your attending. Thank you. Bye-bye.